Rod Strickland is a classic point guard. He's very unselfish. He can penetrate when he wants.
Bashfully, he's one of the top 4 point guards in the league.
He makes the game easier on everybody else.
Rod is an excellent player both at the half-court level and also in transition. I think that his distribution of the basketball is going to be very important to us.
Rod Strickland, very gifted player on the court. Off the court, he's had a lot of issues that you all have to deal with. If you're his teammate, what do you say to Rod, if anything?
I think you need a lot more governing of teammates in some respects. If you feel like it's a distraction, then don't feel afraid to voice that. And if Rod has any sensitivity and understanding for what teamwork is all about, then he certainly has to have some respectability to respectful attitudes or feelings towards his teammate. I'm not saying that we all don't make mistakes away from the game of basketball. It's how you deal with those mistakes in relationship to your teammates, organization, fans, public, whatever. That's how you got to deal with them. And that's how we're trying to deal with Rod. Rod is going to be different than most people. He's going to have different expectations. He's going to have different guidelines to some degree. But we all are very responsible for our actions. So when the situations happen, you got to step to the forefront and accept that responsibility and the consequences of those responsibilities.
But as an owner, do you talk to him differently than you would if you were his teammate?
You have to. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. You can't, certain ways you have to be very very strict and set certain guidelines. But in all honesty, Dennis Rodman was not treated the same way Michael Jordan, and quite frankly, Michael Jordan wasn't treated the same way that Dennis Rodman was treated. So it has to be some gray area. And when you see that gray area starting to affect the team, then it's a conversation needed between the organization and the individual so we can get back on track and stay focused and not be a distraction for what we need to do as a team. So sure, that's the type of conversation I have with Rod. And if he cannot adhere to what I'm saying, and yet he continues to deal with his private life in whatever way that's very distracting to the team and to the organization, disrespectful, then appropriate actions must be taken, and you do it with the notion of you don't want everybody to feel like they can go out and do the same thing. So to answer your question, you can't treat everybody the same, but you have to understand the individuals and understand what the guidelines are and try to stay within those guidelines with a certain gray area implemented in that as well.
I did about everything this summer except for play basketball. My fun is hanging out.
And we'll profile a guy with all-star stats, but not all-star status.
I'm Rod Strickland of the Portland Trail Blazers. You may not know me now, but stay tuned to Inside the NBA on TNT.
Who's coming out of that scramble? Oh, it's Rod Strickland. Portland with a 3-point lead early. Strickland, a 20-point night. Go ahead, Rod. And around Big George Murison for a couple. First time. Now, when the All-Star reserves were named this week, Rod Strickland's name came up because he didn't make it, and that snub by the Western Conference coaches ticked him off. Strickland's never been a choir boy, but opponents have sung his praises as one of the best point guards out there. Here's Kevin Kiley.
Rod Strickland has performed at the All-Star level.
Here comes Rod. Hello, 2 more.
It's total package.
Oh, here it is, and there you go.
You'd be like sitting on the bench like, dang, how do you do that?
Rod puts the D over the top. How did he do that?
As you watch Rod Strickland play, it's clear he's among the top point guards in the NBA. This season, his numbers, well, he's hovering around 20 points a game and 10 assists. He has the respect of the coaches in the NBA. He's feared by the players that play against him and respected by his own teammates. The Portland fans love him, and yet nationally, he has never been voted to the All-Star team. Why?
Maybe I don't have the pizzazz or the showmanship, that some of those guys have. And, I just go out and play every night and do my job. And, I don't know. I guess I don't have that type of personality or something. I don't know. I really don't know how to even pinpoint that.
And
then I think you got to become a good guy. That's one thing you have to do. You have to just change your attitude and become a good guy. And I think Rod got it all in him. You know, he's just getting the bad end of the stick right now. But what I say is I went through it, and I think you just have to play basketball. Well, I don't think I would ever compromise myself. You know, I'm comfortable with myself and how I am. And, you know, if what I do on the court is not enough, then, you know, so be it.
In terms of what he's doing on the floor, I don't know that there's much more he can do.
He got a nice game. I think he's a real silky, smooth, quiet guy.
Game in and game out, Rod comes in, he passes the ball, he scores, he plays defense, and, you know, he rebounds. I mean, he does just about everything out on the floor.
He's got a chance to average 20 points and 10 assists this year for us. I mean, that's incredible offensive performance.
He's one of the top guards in the league. Definitely having a great year this year. Very explosive, can penetrate, nice ball handling skills to shoot the jump shot. He has the whole package, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with in the league. My goal is to try to go out there every night and be consistent and try to do a little bit of everything. You know, scoring, set my teammates up, rebounding, try to play decent defense. You know, so I try to play a pretty much all-around game.
You sense a frustration in him that he doesn't get the notoriety and the All-Star thing he deserves?
I think any player at this level, particularly the great ones, they got a burning desire to succeed, and you got to want to be recognized. To me, it would seem to have to hurt to play as well and to work as hard and to come as far as he's come and not get more recognition. I would think it's got to bother you. I can't say that Rod has shared that with me or has said that to me, but I got to think it's disappointing to him.
I mean, obviously, I would have loved to, you know, be on the All-Star team, but it didn't happen. And, you know, all I can say is, yeah, it's disappointing, a little frustrating, but life goes on.
Rod Strickland a little more sedate there. Immediately after the reserves were announced, he was saying, look, I'm so mad now, if I ever get voted to the thing, I'm not going to go. And does he have an argument? Check it out. The numbers among the point guards, and you see him compared with the guys who have made the Western Conference All-Star team, and certainly it appears that Rod Strickland would have a case to be made there. What's your take on him and why he is not an All-Star, even though a lot of guards out there say, I don't want to face the guy?
Well, you know, first of all, Ernie, I think that there's a guy that's had a lot of different attitudes over the years, and I don't think coaches give him the respect he deserves. I think that he didn't make the All-Star team because Jason Kidd has a great PR firm working for him, and the All-Star balloting, I think, is a farce. It should be 1/3 players, 1/3 fans, and 1/3 coaches. There should be no voting from overseas, and the players should have to play a certain amount of games to even be considered.
A lot of times it's popularity and geography that enter into that equation.
And Rod Strickland, another guy left off the All-Star team, even though he leads the NBA right now in assists. Strickland leads it nicely for Wallace.
Strickland is a controlled point guard. He can beat you with speed, but he can also beat you with a slow-paced dribble. He is very confident putting it on the floor.
Now, as well as Rod Strickland is playing, you still got to figure Michael Jordan will save the day in the long run.
No one argues that Rod Strickland is not one of the top 5 point guards in all of basketball. Strickland, indeed, has the whole package. But there are problems. Rod Strickland is constantly being disciplined.
Hey, Rod Strickland attending a game for the first time since his drunken driving arrest early Sunday. More on him in a moment. Fourth quarter.
Rod Strickland in attendance for the first time since his drunk driving arrest. First quarter, Sixers Wizards, Allen Iverson, the thievery. One of 3 steals for Allen in this one. He finishes with the flush.
And we find Rod Strickland in uniform. Yes, he's back. Fast forward to the fourth quarter. Rick Smits is rejected by Cliff Robinson. Strickland comes away with it. At the other end, Robinson scores, putting the Blazers up 93-86, 37 for Robinson in overtime. Buck Williams will go backdoor to Strickland, who's fouled. The three-point play ties it at 108. On to a second OT at 108. Robinson now in the overtime. A three-pointer gives the Blazers a 111-108 lead.
Suns by 2, 3.5 to play first quarter. Strickland. Rod Strickland has the feel early in this game.
Strickland in among the trees, the feed from McGrady. Strickland, his first field goal. His 16th year in the league, he's 37.